Would you trust a stranger online with your child's food, weight, growth, and blood sugar? Let me be clear, your child is not a meal plan, not a before and after photo. Not a tiny adult with a smaller plate. Food can affect energy, focus, sports, constipation, growth, blood sugar, and confidence. But here's the truth. Some parents do not need another diet hack. They need a real pediatric nutrition plan. And desperate parents are easy to sell to. This is not a video saying every child needs a dietitian. That would be ridiculous. This is not a video saying every picky eater is sick. That would be fear marketing. This is about the messy middle. The child who eats 5 foods. The teen with rising blood sugar. The kid gaining weight fast. The athlete who is always tired. The toddler who barely eats dinner. The parent being told, just cut carbs. Stop. Children are growing. Their bodies are not punishment projects. Nobody tells you this. Bad nutrition advice can turn dinner into a courtroom, and the child becomes the one on trial. Picture this. A parent has a 6-year-old who only eats nuggets, crackers, yogurt, and fruit pouches. Every dinner becomes a negotiation. Another parent has a 12-year-old whose doctor mentioned blood sugar risk. Now the whole house is panicking over cereal. Another has a teenager who skips breakfast, drinks energy drinks, plays sports, and crashes by 3 p.m. Different families. Different problems, same pressure. Fix the food. Fix the child. Fix it now. Here is the uncomfortable part. Parents already feel judged. They are afraid of causing food trauma. Afraid of ignoring diabetes risk. Afraid of being too strict. Afraid of being too soft. That is not bad parenting. That is confusion. But confusion should not write the nutrition plan. A pediatric dietitian is a nutrition professional who works with infants, children, teens, and families. They may help with picky eating, growth concerns, food allergies, constipation, sports nutrition, diabetes, obesity care, feeding challenges, and medical conditions that affect nutrition. But pediatric does not automatically mean the advice is right for your child. The real question is not, is this food healthy? The real question is, healthy for which child, at which age, with which medical history, and with which goal? A child with poor weight gain needs a different plan than a child with insulin resistance. A teen, secretly cutting calories, needs a different kind of help. Without assessment, nutrition advice becomes theater. Pretty plates, scary words. No plan. Why do parents look for a pediatric dietitian? Because food gets emotional fast. Because pediatric visits can feel rushed. Because school lunches are confusing. Because every influencer has a gut health protocol. Because diabetes, obesity, and sugar are scary words. Because grandparents, coaches, teachers, and social media all have opinions. And because parents are tired of fighting at the table. Here's the truth, some kids do need nutrition support. Not because they are broken. Because growth and eating are complicated. But not every food problem is solved by restriction. If your child has extreme thirst, frequent urination, unexplained weight loss, vomiting, severe fatigue, fruity smelling breath, poor growth, blood and stool, choking, trouble swallowing, or dehydration signs, do not start with a meal plan. Start with medical evaluation. Stop asking, what diet should my child be on? That question is too small. Ask better questions. Is my child growing appropriately? Are we looking at weight alone, or the full growth trend? Is blood sugar actually abnormal? Do we need labs? Is this picky eating, sensory feeding difficulty, anxiety, constipation, allergy, diabetes, or something else? Is the goal better nutrition, safer blood sugar, fewer food fights, sports performance, or medical support? Will this plan protect my child's relationship with food? If the provider cannot answer clearly, be careful. Parents are allowed to ask. Your child's body is not a subscription funnel. Here is the practical checklist before taking your child to a pediatric dietitian. First, define the problem. My child is picky is not enough. How many foods? Which textures? Any gagging, vomiting? Constipation? Weight change, growth concern? Second, involve the pediatrician when symptoms are severe, unexplained, persistent, or tied to growth, diabetes, digestion, allergies, or eating disorder concerns. Third, ask about credentials. Are they a registered dietitian nutritionist? Do they work with children? Do they understand growth charts, diabetes care, family feeding, allergies, and age-appropriate needs? Fourth, avoid extreme plans. No child should fear apples because of carbs. No child should be praised for skipping meals. No child should be told their body is the family emergency. Fifth, track function. Energy. Sleep, growth, bowel habits. Sports, school focus. Mood, blood sugar readings if relevant. Mealtime, stress. And make it family-based. A child should not get a lonely diet plate while everyone else eats normally. That creates resentment. And resentment does not build health. Now here is the part people fight about. Some parents say pediatric dietitians changed everything. Some people say dietitians just push outdated food rules. Some influencers say doctors ignore nutrition. Some doctors say influencers are making kids afraid of food. Both sides can be partially right. And both sides can be dangerously wrong. A good pediatric dietitian does not just hand you a good food, bad food list. They look at the child, the family, the medical history, the growth chart, the labs. The stress at the table. Nobody tells you this. The best plan is not the strictest one, it is the one your child can live with safely. Reality check. If someone promises to fix every child's problem with one food rule, be careful. If they say fruit is poison, be careful. If they sell a detox to a child, leave. If they tell you to fear all carbs without looking at age, activity, diagnosis, medications, growth, or blood sugar data, be careful. If they shame your child's body to motivate behavior, leave. Let me be clear. Weight stigma is not a treatment. Fear is not education. And a smaller child is not automatically a healthier child. But ignoring real warning signs is not kindness. If your child has abnormal labs, rapid weight gain, rapid weight loss, extreme thirst, frequent urination, binge eating, food avoidance, dizziness, missed periods, or fear of eating, do not pretend food is not a big deal. It already is. The goal is not panic. The goal is proper care. Here is the hopeful reframe. You do not have to choose between diet culture and doing nothing. You do not have to be strict to be responsible. You do not have to be careless to be gentle. You can be pro-growth, pro-blood sugar safety, pro-energy, pro-family meals, pro-child. Maybe your child needs a pediatrician visit. Maybe labs. Maybe a pediatric dietitian. Maybe feeding therapy. Maybe diabetes education. Maybe eating disorder support. Maybe the whole family needs a calmer dinner table. The goal is not to make your child eat like a wellness influencer. The goal is to help them grow, function, and feel safe around food. Your child deserves care, not a food war with better branding. This video is for education only. It does not diagnose, treat, or replace advice from your child's pediatrician, registered dietitian nutritionist, endocrinologist, gastroenterologist, therapist, emergency clinician, or other qualified healthcare professional. Seek urgent care if your child has severe dehydration, trouble breathing, fainting, confusion, seizure, severe abdominal pain, repeated vomiting, fruity smelling breath, extreme thirst, frequent urination, unexplained weight loss, blood and stool, signs of an allergic reaction, or any emergency symptoms. For clear pediatric health content without sugarcoating, subscribe. Leave a comment with your questions or suggestions. Tell us what topic you want next. And watch the next video, because we are breaking down pediatric neurology warning signs parents often mistake for normal childhood behavior.